SecureX, it is a cloud-native built-in experience within the portfolio. So what that actually means is a unified console or an application that is able to provide unified visibility into the different solutions. So you are going to be able to interface with this, whether it's within Cisco solutions, or if it's third party, or if we're pulling in threat feeds or intelligence from somewhere else, or using this to help orchestration actions through a SOAR or sending the information over to a SIM. That we see different groups that are interested in this, either network operations, IT operations, or SecOps. You could break it off into different areas. To create different dashboards for each teams and things like that. So SecureX is now being embedded into every Cisco Secure technology, and it's not just another layer of security. We're really working to improve the cross-functional collaboration between the teams, but not only within the teams, but within the different solutions within the environment. So we are so by going in this direction, we now have SOAR capabilities. We have XDR, which is Extended Detection and Response, is what that acronym stands for. And what we're working to do is we're not trying to be just completely a SOAR or be an XDR platform. We do not require separate licenses for different capabilities or functionalities. SecureX is free. It's included if you buy certain solutions within our portfolio, and we'll cover those in a little bit. But we really just want to simplify that experience, be able to unify your visibility, and really create or help create that operational efficiency without any additional licenses. And it has capabilities that some SOARs don't have. It has capabilities that some XDRs don't have, but your SOAR platforms may have more capabilities in it, or you may already have a bunch of different orchestrations set up, and this is actually meant to feed into that or help to feed the solutions that you have. It's not a rip and replace. It's not like the Lord of the Rings, one ring to rule them all, or something like that. It is a complementary solution to these other platforms that you may already have in place. So unlocking the value, we already kind of went through this, but if you want to talk about some metrics, so it takes about 15 minutes to set up and to be able to get data into it so it is usable. It takes about half the time to be able to look at threats and identify what's going on within the environment, if you want to talk about visibility. And then on average, we see between a 85% reduction in time to respond and remediate an attack, and saving about 100 hours unifying visibility and automating workflows. So meaning by being able to dump all this stuff into one console makes it a lot easier to comb through and figure out what's going on. All right, so the different pieces of the platform are going to be your integrations, and I'll cover this in a second. Ribbon and sign-on, your dashboards, your threat response piece. So Cisco Threat Response is still part of this and it's not going away. And then your orchestration, which includes a drag and drop GUI, and we'll show that here in a second. So how this is going to be experienced. So when we talk about the pillars, I'm going to go through and walk through each of the pillars, and then we'll go through the demo itself. So simplicity, the first one. Before, we're looking at trying to identify an alert, do the investigation, go through the different product dashboards, and then you remediate by coordinating multiple teams, multiple products, and things like that. And it was a very manual process. Now with SecureX, or namely SecureX Threat Response, we're able to integrate across the entire infrastructure. We could automate the actions. We're able to click on a specific endpoint, or maybe a malicious domain, or an email message, or whatever, and tell it to remediate, to either block a URL, or to remove or quarantine an email message or an endpoint or whatever directly within the console. The next one is the next piece of this is the SecureX Ribbon. So the ribbon, I'll show that in the demo in a little bit more detail. But the ribbon is what unifies all these different platforms. So whether you're in SecureX, you are in CTR, you go into Umbrella, you go into AMP, you go into any of these other the other solutions that feed into SecureX, the ribbon is what ties all these together, and it gives you a unified dashboard, or really ribbon, or part of a console where it is the same across all these different solutions. So you can utilize this to look at different cases, to look at incidents, to pivot directly into other solutions, and you'll see how it ties all of these products together and gives you the ability to launch between one and the other. And then the other piece of your simplicity is being able to utilize SecureX for your incident response, for your investigations, utilizing SecureX threat response. So this allows you to aggregate query, to visualize what's going on, to see, to look at a relations graph and see everywhere where either in IOC or an indicator of compromise. It might be a hash, it may be an IP or URL, or a combination of all the above. Be able to look at that to see everywhere where it's interacted within your environment, or even out external to that if you're utilizing Umbrella for DNS requests and things like that, which will allow you to automate your workflows and take immediate action. So now we're able to see and stop attacks in a couple of minutes, utilizing just a few clicks, rather than, as we said before, we're looking at 5 to 10 minutes to look through and identify what's going on and be able to make an informed decision, versus a half hour plus to be able to go through multiple consoles to identify what goes on. So that is, really our focus, or the intention with trying to simplify what you're doing. So the amount of information you're looking at, different dashboards, logs, sources, things like that. So our goal is, at least an 85% reduction in time to respond and remediate an attack. Versus what we see our customer base going through now on a day-to-day basis. So first pillar, that was simplicity. So now we're looking at visibility. So our second pillar of the solution is visibility. So this is allowing us to provide a singular console to be able to see what's going on across your infrastructure. So you're able to look at instantly at what matters. You can create your different views, you can create your dashboards, and either if you want to do a per person, by team, or however you would prefer to do that, you get that visibility into a single dashboard. And this is what it looks like, and I'm going to cover this in the demo as well. But you have your applications, you have your tiles, which is providing information, and then your news on the right. So it's our version of an RSS feed that will provide information about either SecureX, how to do certain things, information from Talos, Cisco Security, CERT, or US CERT, and other organizations as well. And how we really maximize that efficiency is instead of doing working through some automation scripts and playbooks and things like that really end up getting outdated, or some of the scripts may break, or can be really manual tasks that are being done, and time-consuming tasks, but being able to move those over into an orchestration engine that is able to orchestrate not only Cisco, but across multiple solutions, or across your entire security portfolio. And then after being able to just combine these different tasks across different security tools, and be able to orchestrate or automate what goes on within a single task or a single workflow. So, and this is where we'll get into orchestration. I'm going to skip through these quickly because I'm going to show these in the demo. But just the difference, and the last thing that I want to cover here before we get into efficiency is the difference between automation and orchestration. So I touched on this before. Automation is the ability to perform individual repetitive tasks. So we want to either deploy something quicker, respond to something, do more with less, things like that. This is where you're going to want to employ automation or utilize automation to help with that. Everybody's short of manpower. Everybody wastes too much time on repetitive tasks, and having the ability to utilize an engine like this to be able to get past that is really, really helpful. So orchestration is the arrangement and coordination of automated tasks or non-automated tasks. So like I had said earlier, automation is being able to take individual items and automate those. Orchestration is taking multiple automated tasks and orchestrating those, or being able to coordinate all of those tasks to be able to perform a common output. So if you wanted to automatically spin up, say like an AWS bucket or something on demand, and be able to, so that's, you would orchestrate actions like that, or orchestrate a deployment of a site, or cat 9Ks, or something like that for a new site turn up. All right, and the last piece of this is about integrations, right? So I talk about orchestration, you talk about automation, talk about a single console. This is really what it looks like. So once we start to talk about integrations, there's two different flavors of integrations within this platform, and I'll show you this again in a minute. But the integrations are not only Cisco infrastructure, but between third-party security tools, third-party infrastructure, and your general infrastructure. So that could be scripting or dev tools, data exchanges, messaging protocols, having SecureX create messages within WebEx Teams, for instance, through the API. If there's a specific event that's going on, or if you want to notify the team of maybe an outage or an infection or a breach or something like that, you could automate things like that. But the integrations themselves are done either through apps within the platform that you'll see that are built in, and we're continuing to develop on those and add new ones in there almost weekly. And then we also have our API, which is open, which you could utilize the API to create your own integrations between any other solution out there that has an open API. So you could script it, you could have it pull information in, things like that, to be able to share data between platforms. But what you see on here are just some of the platforms that we have already included in here that you have access into, and we're continuing to add more. And this is not including just having access to the API to be able to do that. So the integration into the SOC itself, and what we're looking at here, if you look at it from a infrastructure standpoint, you have your Cisco security portfolio, you have your third-party security, you have other infrastructure in there, and then what we want to do is be able to provide that enrichment and response. So you have SecureX over the right-hand side. So all the information from your environment dumps into SecureX and into some of your other tools that you would have that your SOC is going to be looking at, or your security team. And if we're going to provide that information or send that into SecureX, then from there you could create your orchestration, or you could add that data or utilize that data in your current playbooks or your SOAR or your security feeds. Send that stuff over to your SIM, or allow the IT ops or the network operations center to also have visibility into what's going on across the environment through centralized consoles such as this. So very last slide, I swear. This is our what you can do. So some of the things that we claim, some of our claims, or the claim to fame with SecureX or SecureX threat response is, while having this solution in place, some of the things that you're going to be able to do are answer questions faster, block and unblock domains, block and unblock executions, isolate hosts. You can hunt for an observable. You can see incidents all in one place. You could store our threat intel or your own threat intel into or be able to pull it into the platform to be able to use in investigations. You can integrate threat response easily into your existing processes and your tools, or any custom tools at that via the API. Document your analysis in different casebooks that are available within CTR, and then save point-in-time snapshots of either your investigations, of your analysis, or you could force the platform to take a snapshot of an individual host itself if you wanted to do it that way. So I know this was a lot of data, but I really want to show you this in action. So I'm going to switch over from here into the demo itself. And let me bring my browser over to this screen, and we will go from there. All right, so SecureX, good, okay, it resized for me. So this is going to be your SecureX dashboard, and when you launch into it, this is what you're going to see. So I went ahead and I created a couple different dashboards here to show you or give you a better idea of the types of data that you're going to be able to get out of this. So I'm going to just expand the window to give you a better idea of some of the information that we're seeing here. So in the security operations in here, let me do it this way. These are the way that the integrations are going to show within the platform. So when you go to create a dashboard, I can name this whatever I want. So if I want to name this Pete's dashboard, and say I care about our AMP, so I could come in and pick and choose what I want from here. If I just want a summary, if I want to be able to look at quarantines or compromises, I could add MITRE attack tactics in this as well. So we support the MITRE attack framework, and it'll map it to the different observables or the different methods that are being used that are outlined by MITRE. Or I could go in and add in what we're seeing from Orbital. So Orbital is the advanced query engine that you could add on to AMP for endpoints, but I could go through and add just either individual things, or I could add all of them for the different solutions. So in this first one, what I did was for security operations, I just dumped everything in here. So I took all of our security controls, or all of our security solutions, and I added them in to the dashboard, so that this way it give you a better idea of what some of these screens will look like. So either compromises by AMP, through incoming mail messages from the ESA, going down to the WSA umbrella, and then looking at Stealth Watch information, and then going last into Orbital and looking at threat grid, threat scores, and your malware analysis that are in here as well. So going through from this standpoint, you could see, or just wanted to give an idea of what some of these tiles or some of these dashboards would look like when you're looking at it. So for security operations, I did everything. In network security, I made it a little bit more pointed, where I only did firepower, I did WSA, I did Stealth Watch, so we could look at what's going on within the network. If any of these are not showing traffic, I could look at it at a log scale. It'll tell you exactly what's going on via the API. So SecureX is completely API driven, even within the stuff that we have in there. So SecureX under the covers really is a series of APIs that make calls into the different solutions that pull the data in, and then correlate it, and then you're able to use that for these different dashboards. So going through, you have the ability to change timelines. You could change some of the settings within some of the tiles, or the way that the APIs are calling, if you want to create your custom integrations, or different customized dashboards. Or if I want to look at so going from network security and pivoting now over to this one, I just call it fish food. So this is all about phishing attempts. So looking at email security, whether it's AMP for email, or all the way down to, I also include an AMP for endpoints in this as well, and threat grid and umbrella. So we could see if there was a phishing attempt, what URLs they were trying to access, if there was command and control traffic, if anything was brought down to the endpoint itself, or if we had any submissions to threat grid to see if we have any either malicious or benign files that were downloaded or brought down as well. So just a couple examples here of the different types of dashboard that you're able to create. So to step back one step, the other areas that I had talked about is your news feed. So this is, you're welcome to SecureX, different things about Cisco Security, or releases from Cisco Security about either new releases or different intelligence feeds. Over the left-hand side, you have your integrations, your apps, and things like that. And then the very last thing that I'm going to hit on before we turn it over for Q&A, because I know we're right at the 15-minute mark left, is just the orchestration piece itself. Just to, I want to show, how easy this is. So if I look at this workflow, this is your AMP host isolation. So this is how the let me get out of this. Wrong way. So these are how your the different runs are set up. So you get block objects that you're able to pull in for your different observables. So everything from AMP, it also goes in and it has options for AWS or Azure, or different solutions that you're going to have. And what this does is it allows you to pick on any of these processes that you want, and then tell it what to do. Tell it to either pick this one is select a target, create an approval request. So this is going to send a request out and ask for approval. So this is going to be the message that's going to be sent. This is going to be sent over via email, so that you have to approve. So your approval choices are approve or reject, how long this is good for, when it expires, and things like that. So you're able to go through, and if we see a endpoint that has been identified by AMP to have something malicious on it, allow it to automate that action to send you an endpoint, so you're not sitting in the AMP console itself, staring and trying to see what is what's going to be popping up, or if there's anything that you need to anything that you need to be able to respond to. And this is another one. It's just adding to a triage group, but just showing some of the logic and some of the capabilities here. And then you have the ability to view your runs. You do test your runs and be able to validate all these before any of this stuff is moved into production itself. And so if I run this, it's going to dump me out and then show me whether or not it fails. And this is what it looks like if you have something that is incorrectly done within here. It's going to show you where, and then you have to go back, and if you click on any of these spots, it'll give you a little bit of help with what's wrong, or it'll tell you where it actually failed when you look through the orchestration engine. And very last piece, just to note on, is the ribbon, and this is what I was talking about with tying everything together, where your ribbon gives you the ability to access your casebooks. Casebooks were originally an idea or concept brought in from Cisco Threat Response, and then from here you could directly either look at your different cases, you look at different observables. You could pivot within here to some of the other solutions, whether it's threat response or SecureX, or it works very similar to what you're familiar with if you're familiar with CTR, and then being able to look at incidents again directly, respond to anything, or if you want to pivot into into CTR, in which I messed up my authentication there anyway, but you'll be able to get into CTR. It's going to time out on me here because I used the wrong credentials, but anyway, you'll be able to directly pivot into and cross-launch into any of these other platforms. So I know I went over by a couple minutes, but we have about 10 minutes left for Q&A. If anybody has any questions or anything, please enter them into the chat or into the Q&A window, and I'd be more than happy to answer any of your questions.
Hey, Pete, and everyone, just so you know, we do have some questions that came in through the chat, so I'll go ahead and ask those. And then after we do the Q&A, we do have a quiz that we're going to do. And if you stick around and fill out the quiz, we do have some flags that we can send you if you win. So definitely stick around for that. Give me 1 second, Pete. Let me just get these. Okay. How is your platform different from a SIEM or a SOAR?
All right. So the difference between our platform and a SIEM or a SOAR is that so a SIEM is a logging mechanism. So typically what a SIEM is it's going to pull in all your syslog and then correlate it and then tell you or help to identify security events and things like that. So this platform does correlate events, but it's taking them directly from different platforms. It's not ingesting syslog. It's not capable of ingesting syslog. It's actually doing API calls to reach out and pull in the events. So it's looking for specific pieces of information that are relevant to what it's trying to do and pulling them into the platform. So really that's the difference. We're pointedly looking at different types of data or intelligence and pulling that in and using that to make to respond to or create alerts, rather than looking at all the raw log data and trying to tie that together and be able to make decisions based on all the logs. We do provide the capability within CTR to be able to send the logs, and it's on the roadmap for SecureX as well to be able to send this data over to a SIEM as well. And then for the SOAR question, the SOAR is we want to complement or integrate with your SOAR. We do give you the ability to orchestrate or automate a lot of your workflows into different tasks, especially across multiple solutions. It just when we have this completely or mostly focused on security and then some network tasks and things like that. If you look at SD-WAN or SD-LAN and integrating with DNA Center and things like that, so it does spill over to the network side. But where we see heavy SOAR users, whether it's Ansible, Puppet, Chef, things like that, they're automating entire infrastructures. They're automating workloads. It goes. The typical customers that we see that are running these automation engines go much further past the security threshold, and they're doing orchestration of entire workloads and workflows within the environment. So we're security focused versus operationally focused, where we see a lot of the other SOAR users going.
Perfect. And I think you might have mentioned this. This might be like a two-part question, but how do you get SecureX? What platforms were they that came in that you get SecureX with? And then the other one was, again, the second part to this was, I think this might have been answered too, is how many existing security components can connect to your platform?
Okay, so SecureX is free as long as you have a license for, so here, this is a good one. This will show you over here. So for endpoints for your email security, so ESA or cloud email security, firepower, Stealth Watch, Threat Grid, Umbrella, and WSA. So if you have a subscription to any of those 5 solutions, and now Tetration has been added to that. We're continuing to add. We're working on Meraki now, as well as a couple other solutions, and then we have a whole list. And where is it? No, not that one. So we have a whole list of different, if you look at the SecureX site, of the different integrations that we're able to do. And then we have all of our integration workflows. So whether it's API, whether it's using the applications, and this will give you a list also of all of the available integrations, both Cisco and third party as well.
Perfect. Okay. Awesome. I think that's all the questions that we've gotten through. If anybody else has any, feel free to send it through now. With that, we do have a quick quiz that we're going to go through. And if you want to, you just go ahead and type into the chat. You can chat to the host and presenter, or to all the panelists, so that we can see your answers. With this, it's not just swag that you're going to win. You're going to win a Amazon gift card. So whoever gets the most correct will win the Amazon gift card. So give me just a moment. Let me pull these questions up.
All right, and Sabrina, I made you the presenter if you needed to share anything.
Perfect. I think I'm just going to verbally announce them out. Just thanks, Steve. All right, first question is, what percentage of companies in the security industry plan to automate more actions? Is it A, 50%, B, 77, or C, 15? Again, what percentage of companies in the security industry plan to automate more actions? Is it A, 50%, B, 77%, or C, 15%?
So I think we have Julie Hall was the first one in.
Okay, we'll tally. We have about 5 questions, so we're going to tally them up at the end. And so whoever gets the most right will win. If we got to do a tiebreaker, we'll do a tiebreaker. All right. All right, number 2. Which of these is not a platform approach that SecureX uses to tackle security operations and challenges? Is it A, complexity, B, visibility, or C, efficiency? Again, which of these is not a platform approach that SecureX uses to tackle security operations and challenges? Is it A, complexity, B, visibility, or C, efficiency? All right, this next one is extremely hard, so pay attention, kind of difficult. What is the name of Cisco threat intelligence team that is used for SecureX? Is it A, the Avengers, B, the Justice League, or C, Talos? Again, what is the name of the Cisco threat intelligence team used for SecureX? A, the Avengers, B, Justice League, or C, Talos? All right, we got 2 more questions. 4, which one is not SecureX's description of SecureX, excuse me? A, it's a cloud native, B, it's on-prem based, or C, it's a built-in platform experience? Again, for number 4, which one is not SecureX, or a description of SecureX? A, it's a cloud native, B, it's on-prem based, or C, it's a built-in platform experience? All right. And last but not least, our final question is, where in SecureX can you go to create workflows for your organization? Is it A, your dashboard, B, orchestration, or C, the API connections? Again, where in SecureX can you go to build workflows for your organization? Is it A, dashboard, B, orchestration, or C, API connection? All right. And give us just a minute to look at these. All right, and we've gone through and looked at all of the correct answers. And Adam Phelps has won our Amazon gift card for today. So congratulations, Adam. Awesome job. And thanks for everyone who participated. This was awesome. And we're really glad that you all were able to stay here and join us today. So Adam, we will be getting your information from you and getting that over to you. If you have any questions, I know it's 12 right now, but I will be hanging on for a few more moments to help answer any questions that you all may have. Other than that, thank you all so much for joining. Pete, I'm going to pass it over to you if you want to say anything to wrap us all up.
No, thank you very much to everybody who attended this morning. I also have a few minutes to hang around if anybody has any additional questions. I went through everything that I could find within the chat. And went through and tried to answer all of those questions. And if anybody would like a deeper look or more information on SecureX, please reach out to DSI, and we would be more than happy to set this up.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.